Hey, John, can you hear me now? Yeah, I see myself, but I don't see. Oh, there you are.
All right, I'll call you back up. Myself here. Hey, let's find this. Hey, everybody, this is John Child, Cruise Addicts, and today is the Quarantine Cruise-A-Thon. We're going to go one full hour here, full 60 minutes with you. Thank you all for actually being in the chat. I've never seen a chat this busy, so I really appreciate the help. And we've actually got a special guest today, Scott Lara. He's actually called the Cruise Genius at thecruisegenius.com. We're going to get him here in a second. But once again, thank you so much for joining us at this Cruise-A-Thon. Hopefully we look good here, and we're coming through loud and clear. This is very exciting. This is our first time, I think, really doing anything on YouTube. I might have done something one other time, but this is our first YouTube Cruise-A-Thon. We just actually got 1,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel. We've been online for a long time, but we didn't get a lot of subscribers. So if you can go down there and hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, let us grow, and we'll do more things like this, and we really appreciate it. If you're a big cruise addict, please come in the chat. Let me know you're there. Please say hello. I see so many people. I see Carolyn. Let's see this. Hi, Carolyn. We've got To Travel and Tour. Let's see here. Let's see. Well, we got a whole bunch of conversations here. This is great. So I'm going to get our guest Scott ready. I know he's in the green room right now. We'll get him on board and we'll start asking him some questions. I'm going to give him a little bit of an interview, and hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I'm going to be looking at the chat. If you have any questions, let us know. And any shout outs, we really appreciate it. Once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for making this special day special for us. I've been looking forward to it. And thank you for everybody that put this together. It's very exciting. So let's see. We'll get Scott going here. He's in a discreet location, a secret location. Hey, Scott, how you doing?
John, it's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Hopefully you look okay. Looks like the signal is wonderful. I know you had to go to your secret location, and that's great. So I'm going to have a couple of questions here for you. But first of all, let's get down to it. How are you doing during this quarantine? Is everything okay in your home location?
Well, I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida, and our governor just reopened the state a couple days ago. So I'm actually getting ready to go get a haircut today, and our beaches are open, and we are getting back to somewhat of normal. But again, I think people are still social distancing. I've got a 3-year-old, almost a 3-year-old grandson and a 1-year-old grandson. And so they live in Orlando, and it's been really hard for my wife and I to stay away because we love our grandkids so much. But we have gone down there and, of course, washing hands and all that stuff. But, yeah, here in Jacksonville and in Florida, I think we're getting closer to, I hate saying the new normal, but we are doing better, yes.
Yeah. And so I'll get that. We're going to ask some cruise questions here. I've got about 10 and some bonus ones. This is like a little interview series, so we'll start that if you don't mind. So when was your first cruise, and how many have you been on now?
Oh, my gosh. My first cruise like in 1981, and that was on the USS Samuel Eliot Morrison, FFG 13. I was a radarman in the Navy. I joined the Navy when I was 18 years old. I wanted to get out of Chicago because I wanted to see the world. And I tell you, ever since then, John, I've been in love with being at sea. And so I was in the Navy for 9 years, been all over the world, Italy, Spain, France, the Caribbean, all over. I went through the Panama Canal, and I loved just being out there. Now, granted, the food was not as good on my Navy ship as it is on Holland America or on Carnival, but I will tell you that cruising, there's just nothing like it, really. I love it. And then my first real cruise was on the Fantasy back in the 80s. And since then, 150 days on Holland America Line, 75 days on Carnival, a bunch of days on NCL, and that was on the Groove Cruise, which really changed my life. And God bless Jason Bukima and What Travel for the Groove Cruise. And then I was also on the Blake Shelton Cruise, which was a lot of fun. And so I'm really looking forward to getting back to cruising. I know it's going to be different, but still, there's nothing like it.
So those that don't know about your website, I wanted to touch on that. So how can people actually get a hold of you and get in contact with you and visit your website?
Sure, it's thecruisegenius.com, and you can just Google my name, Scott Lara, on Google. You'll see all my stuff: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I've got over 700,000 views on YouTube, over 4,000 followers on Twitter, and it's just been a lot of fun. I've been doing this a while, and I really have to thank Doug Parker, Cruise Radio, who really inspired me to do this. Doug and I worked at a radio station together here in Jacksonville when he started Cruise Radio years ago, and hats off to Doug. He just does a great job, and I love him.
Okay, so moving on to the question. So what is your favorite port, and could you tell us why?
Well, my favorite port, that is a hard one to answer. Man, I'm really thinking, I guess I got to say St. Thomas, because I love Magens Bay. I love going all the way up that mountain. I'd love to. If I had the money, John, I would open up like a little pirate store right there in St. Thomas for people to come. But I really love St. Thomas. I really do.
Okay, we'll turn off this audio here. Let's see. How about, let's see.
You're frozen, my friend.
And all right, looks like we lost Scott for a minute. And I know we have someone actually on. There's Scott. All right, we're about to get Scott back in here.
Those are not my dogs.
Yes, they're my dogs, yeah. We've got company coming over, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break away to a video. 1 second here. 1 moment, Scott.
I don't have.
Hey, John, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
1 second. I think I got it on now.
There you go.
So I'm going to jump to you. I think we're having problems with Scott. I think we're just going to have to roll with today between all the little things. But I saw you. Thanks for jumping in here.
Of course.
Maybe we see if we get Scott in here. We'll try all three. This will be like a work in progress.
Sure.
Okay, he's going to jump in here.
I'm back.
I think he's having connection problems. Hey, Scott, I think you got a bad connection. You might have to park next to a cell tower or get some Wi-Fi. Okay. Yeah, he dropped out again. So, Don, I'm just going to go right to our interview. Thanks again for joining us. We got some great audio.
Good. You can hear me? That's the most important thing, right?
You look great. How are you doing?
I'm sorry?
How are you doing with all this going on in this quarantine?
I think we're handling it all right. Of course, we miss cruising like most folks, like cruise addicts out there. But we're lucky that we're healthy and safe so far. How about you guys?
We're doing good. I mean, I just got a haircut, so it's which is a big deal. I know we've had to. I just talked to my brother in New York, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't get a haircut." And
that's why I have the hat. You don't want to see what the quarantine hair looks like. Heidi's always can't wait for me to get a haircut in a couple of weeks when things open up here in Massachusetts. But besides that, I mean, that's small potatoes compared to everything that's going on out there.
Yeah, exactly. But it does make you appreciate those little things. That's what we've been talking about. Just with obviously cruise travel, which is such a luxury thing in our lives. But yeah, just everything. Have you got a lot of takeout? Are any restaurants open where you're at?
We have, yeah. I think things are opening up slowly in the Massachusetts, Rhode Island area. We live in Massachusetts, but right on the border of Rhode Island, and Rhode Island's opening up a little bit earlier than Massachusetts is. But yeah, I've done a lot of home projects since we've been home. We're partially furloughed for our full-time jobs. Eat, Sleep, Cruise, as you know, similar to Cruise Addicts, isn't our full-time gig. It's a side thing. So other things going on with our business and our lives, just trying to take it one day at a time.
Now, for people that might not know about your website, could you introduce them to your website and tell us all about it?
Yeah, sure. So eatsleepcruise.com and our, all over social media at Eat Sleep Cruise. It's a community that we've been building for the last 5 or 6 years now. And it started off with a blog and now we have social media and doing some more YouTube the last year and a half. And it really where we share our passion for cruising. As I mentioned, it's not a full-time thing. My wife and I who run it, we're co-editors. It's a 50-50 thing, is where we get to share reviews, tips, and a lot of different cruise things that we've experienced firsthand.
So I'm going to ask you, I'm doing like an interview series, so we can start that up. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I was doing a little bit with Scott, and he broke out. We'll try to get him back at the end of the show here. We're doing a full 60 minutes here with the cruise quarantine Cruise-A-Thon. So thank you again for joining me. And I thank you for everybody in the chat. We're going to get to Will Cooper says, congratulations on the 1,000 subs. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, hopefully his dogs don't jump in here again.
Well, the dogs are excited too for 1,000 subscribers, so congrats on that.
So I'll try to mute myself here. So when was your first cruise and how many have you been on now?
So our first cruise is a couple. Heidi and I, we went on Legend of the Seas, and I think that was in January of 2007, I believe. And since then, we've been on, I think our Freedom of the Seas cruise made number 32 or 33. So in that, we went on Freedom of the Seas actually right before all this happened, early in March of this year.
Okay. And now what made you fall in love with cruise travel? Was there a certain thing?
I mean, there's lots of little things, I think. We like to travel in general and see different places, and cruising, we feel, is the best way to do that because it can bring you to so many different ports and so many different destinations around the world, and you don't have to unpack, right? So your hotel room follows with you, and there's just the other little things that the ships do, like the food, the restaurants, the entertainment. We feel it's such a great value. So not only do you see destinations, but the ships themselves have really become destinations.
Oh, no doubt. Now, do you have a favorite port? And is there a certain reason why it'd be your favorite?
I mean, we have lots of favorites, I would say. Maybe, I think that when people ask that question, it's really difficult because there's so many places we've been to that we love, and we always find something about a place that we love. But I would say one region, at least, probably our favorite place to visit is Alaska. And each of the port have their own unique features and elements to them, but just overall the region, it's so beautiful. It's so different when people think of cruising we love the Caribbean, don't get me wrong, but when people think of cruising, they think Caribbean. When you go to Alaska, it's a totally different experience, and you get to see the wilderness, different type of cuisine, and all the ports there that we've been able to visit have been great.
But you're saying that Alaska just had a major impact on you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That was like, I think that was our first cruise that we kind of tipped into the blogging actually too. It was our 5-year anniversary, our first time to Alaska on Celebrity Solstice. And we've only been back one other time, and then we've been to Seattle a couple times, but I'd hop on an Alaska cruise tomorrow if it would open up. Yeah.
It's funny you say that. It's not because my cruise to Alaska, I did 2 weeks. I did a week on the land and a week on a ship with aboard the Island Princess, and it just blew me away. I think there's the whole the authenticity of it all, just how raw and untouristy it was, just was amazing. And I've basically been a Pied Piper for Alaska cruises since then, but it is a significant cruise to go between the air and everything else. You don't get to do it as often as say a Caribbean cruise, but it's amazing.
Right. I mean, we're on the East Coast too, like you. Yeah. So getting across the country, and then a lot of the experiences there aren't cheap either, but when you're going to go on a dog sled or get to go on a glacier. So, I mean, there's still a good value to them, but yeah, it's not something you can hop on like a Bahamas cruise or cruise to the Eastern Caribbean or Western Caribbean. It's definitely an investment when you go to Alaska, but well worth it for folks who've never been.
Oh, it's incredible. And like I said, I've been a Pied Piper ever since. So now I'm going to get into some more questions here. So when you run into someone and they say they'll never go on a cruise, and it's kind of an absurd excuse. I know you've dealt with these people. Is there something that you say to them to help them motivate them to actually take this, cruise experience, to enjoy it?
Well, those people are everywhere. I don't know, like, why are they all everywhere? Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on the person, getting to know them. My brother was actually one of those people. He didn't want to go on a cruise for multiple reasons, and then his now fiance, when they first started dating and they'd dated for a while, wanted to go on a cruise because she and her family liked it. And I talked to him, and I knew him. I said, "Listen, Rich, my brother, I know you. Let me pick the ship and the itinerary." And now they go on at least a cruise a year. He loves it. So I think it's really finding what those individuals like. We have other family members. Some people like the freestyle. Some people like the structure, like Heidi and I. We like to go on a cruise and have everything pre-planned. Other people kind of just want to wing it. So I think cruising is so different. There's so many different size ships, so many different types of brands that cater to different types of travel. So when someone says that, if I know them well, then I can say, all right, I know you, this is what you'd like. But if I don't know them, I try to ask some questions like, what style of travel? Is it a family or just couple? Is it going to be a large group? And what do you want to do? Do you want to lay on the beach, or do you actually want to see and do things? And once you get those questions answered, I think you can find the right cruise for anybody.
So you touched on something. You like to have it all pre-planned. And to me, that sounds like you just don't want to have to overthink the vacation, because to me, that if you have to go there and wing it, sometimes that can add a layer of stress as far as cost and everything else. So why do you prefer to do that? Is that the same reasons, or based on your own words, why do you pre-plan everything?
Well, partially Heidi, because she's crazy. No, but she can't hear me now. But we're both, my wife, we're both type A personalities, so it would definitely be stressful if and this has happened where we've had itineraries changed, like pre-cruise, because of storms or whatever. Like we have everything planned, shore excursion. If we have restaurant reservations, we always do traditional dining, so we always have that set. And if there's a change in itinerary, we both kind of go a little crazy. So I think having everything pre-planned, we also just like to do and see as much as possible. So if we just were dropped somewhere and we had no idea, didn't do any research, I think we both would feel like we're missing out. So we pre-plan to make sure we get as much in as possible, but also we pre-plan everything, not just cruising, any travel or anything even around the house. Like that's just the way we approach everything. So cruising is great because you can pre-book excursions with tour companies now with the web and great sites like yours to do research, so you know what you're doing. And yeah, I think cruising enables that. That's another reason we love to travel on cruise ships.
Yeah, well, that's great because some people just might wing it. I've actually been with relatives, and they didn't know anything about anything. They get on board and they're just like, what do we do? And like middle of the cruise, they're starting to figure stuff out, and you're like, what have you been doing? You got to look at the daily planners. You have to actually you just can't overly wing it. I mean, you could, but I think you should be a little bit of aware, of what you're getting into.
And sometimes those people who do wing it, they end up having great experiences because they discover something, or folks who just say, oh, I'm just going to walk around the port and see what happens, and maybe you find a new tour provider or some local there or some experience that you never heard of. So we're not wholly opposed to it, but we always have at least something planned. And then sometimes we'll even allocate free time. That's how crazy we are, to do some of that too on our own. Because yeah, once in a while, if you're just exploring or walking around, you might discover something that you didn't find online or didn't know about.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to get serious. This is a serious time in our interview, and I know we go way back now. So, so I think I can ask you this question. So Don, your life on this earth is coming to an end. You're gonna have to plan. You and I, you're gonna have to plan your last cruise. Okay, where do you go, and what ship is it gonna be on?
Oh, well, I would say if it's so his last cruise, like bucket list.
This is it. I mean, you got some bad news at the doctor. You're pulling out the good stuff. I mean, so
I think we would do. It might be a little bit of a cop out, but I think we would do a world cruise. And I know some world cruises have different itineraries, so we do some research. We would probably go with Viking Ocean cruises. I mean, the other cruise lines do a great job with their world cruises, but again, to experience Viking river cruise and then a little bit of the ocean, I think they would be kind of the person to do such a long voyage. So world cruise is usually 100+ days. And I think I would look for a place that got to visit some locales in like Southeast Asia or the Middle East, maybe Africa. So one of those routes, maybe that starts on the west coast of the US and heads in that direction because we've never really traveled there. And yeah, I mean, we would just do it up and I think Viking would be the cruise line to go with.
Okay, so this is an interesting question. That's a great answer. Thank you for that.
Sure.
So, have you been to Asia at all? Have you actually been out to Asia?
We haven't. No, the furthest we've headed out there, we went to Hawaii, which doesn't really count because it's in the middle of the Pacific, right? But no, we've never been to any of that part of the world. Our first trip together to Europe was actually in Northern Europe when we did a Baltics cruise, which was actually with Viking. So, I mean, there's so many places we want to visit in the world. So picking one would be difficult, but I think seeing that region of the world, we definitely want to get into South America more, Africa more. Now they have Arctic Circle cruises, Antarctica cruises. I mean, cruise ships go everywhere now. So we're happy to go where cruise ships go.
Yeah. So this is gonna be like a wide open question. So do you have a story from one of your, during your travels that you came home and you might tell your friends, of course, that you can share here, some travel story of some type that you can share with other people, like, you won't believe this,
Well, we'll keep it PG, right? So, I mean, I guess I would have to say, I mean, we have a few, but I guess the one that's most pertinent is our last cruise, which was on Freedom of the Seas, right? So we made the decision to go on the cruise early March. The CDC, the government hadn't made any regulations, no changes. Of course, we had heard of things happening on cruise ships. And we're supposed to dock back in San Juan, Puerto Rico, Sunday morning, wake up Sunday morning, and the ship is just moving fast. We must be behind schedule. We're never going to get to the port at time. Sun's rising. It's around 7 a.m. We're looking at, I don't see any land anywhere in place. And that's when the captain came on saying we were being diverted. So we got a 2 extra day cruise because instead of going back to where we originated in San Juan, we actually had to go back to Miami due to some of the changes that were happening. This is right when states and locales were closing and changing right before really the crisis hit the US. So it's a story to tell folks. They're like, you were on one of those last cruises before cruising officially stopped. And like, yeah, we were some of those crazy people, but the ship was pretty full. So we weren't alone. And everyone, honestly, we were seeing on social media that people run out of toilet paper and that things were going a little crazy here. And we were just relaxing on the ship for 2 extra days. We had the drink package and they grandfathered us in. So we got those 2 extra days on the drink package and we had plenty of food and everyone was in good spirits. I think people were practicing a little bit more, washing their hands more, which people always do on cruise ships, and maybe spacing things out a little bit. So, social distancing hadn't really become part of our lexicon yet. So it's something I can tell folks that, what was the last cruise? Oh, it was right before all this happened.
I remember you were on that. So that's interesting to hear the rest of it. Okay, so you got to use your imagination again. Imagine you can order, you open up your app on your phone right now, and you could order your favorite foods from any cruise line, kind of like the Grubhub of cruise ships. And different cruise lines you can have it. What would you order for entree, appetizer, dessert, or many different line?
Yeah. So I guess one of the, and I know Heidi's would be different than mine because we have totally different tastes when it comes to eating. I would think, it's great stuff we love from all the cruises we've been on. I think one of our favorite places is Food Republic, which is on some of Norwegian Cruise Line's larger ship. It's a tapas small plate. Did we lose John? Did he lose me? All right. And what menu items I would order? It's it's got a little bit of Asian cuisine. It's got, kind of all different culinary mixtures. It's a fusion restaurant. That's where it's fusion. So I would just probably pick random stuff off the menu. I haven't had anything bad there. But that would be more like I guess for the appetizers. And then for the main course, I think the brand new Giovanni's Italian kitchen that they put on some of the Royal Caribbean ships, we had never eaten the previous version of it, but now it's kind of, they've revived it and they're putting it back on some of their ships. The pasta dish I had there, it was like clams with like a white sauce, delicious, unbelievable. And the desserts there were really good too. But Carnival, we did our first Carnival cruise earlier this year, and I was very impressed with all of the casual cuisine on that restaurant. So Guy's Burgers were great. The Cantina was amazing, the 24-hour pizza. So I would just have a smorgasbord of food from basically all the major cruise lines.
Did you try the Italian restaurant aboard the Carnival ship?
We didn't. That's the one thing. So we have to go on another Carnival cruise as soon as they open up. We just didn't have time. We were on Panorama, and there was so many things to try and taste in 7 days. But we did basically everything but that restaurant. We didn't even get there for the lunch. They do the pasta bar. Just the way the itinerary fell in our schedule, we never got there. But it's definitely on the top of our list.
They have the best. First of all, it's free.
Right.
And second of all, when we go to Carnival, we'll usually go right up to that restaurant. It's usually above, and they have a pasta clam sauce, which is to die for. And I actually have had the dinner clams, and the lunch portion is actually better because it's like a little different sauce, but it's perfect. If you like linguine and clam sauce, it's to die for. Literally the best anywhere. So that would be my order, like every day, like until I got really sick of it. So okay, great answer though. Let's see here. What port do you choose to stay on the ship? Is there some port that you go, okay, we've been in the Caribbean, we've been here, we're just going to stay on board? And what do you do when you stay on board?
Yeah, I think we would only stay on board on a port we've been to a bunch of times. So unfortunately for Nassau, we have been there so many times that we do tend to stay on the ship. The last couple of times we were doing just those 3-day cruises where it went to the cruise line's private island, then you do Nassau, and then you kind of come home. So those itineraries, we usually stay on the ship, and we just enjoy the empty ship. Yeah, there might be limited amenities open, but usually the water slides or the pool actually is empty, so you're not in there with everyone else, and just enjoy some sun and a couple of drinks. So the ship's nice and quiet, but that's probably the only port. Some ports we've been to a few times, like 2 or 3 times. I mean, Nassau, I can't even remember how many times we've been to, but other ports that we've been to 2 or 3 times, maybe we'll do like half a day. Right. So we'll do something early in the morning. We both like to get up, and maybe we'll do a tour or do something new or some type of experience, and then get back to the ship kind of early. And it's still relatively quiet, and just, again, enjoy some loungers or a drink or some peace and quiet. Or now with the blog, we do some social media, right? We always get the Wi-Fi package. So if we're on the ship and we're enjoying the sun and some drinks or whatever, we might be on social media. But what about you guys? I mean, you've been to so many ports. Where do you stay on the ship?
Nassau a lot of times. This last time we went to Atlantis, and it was the first time we ever went to Atlantis, and that was definitely amazing. I knew it was pretty pricey, but once we've gone there, now we realize why it's actually worth it. So I highly recommend that because it can be an expense, but it was really, really good. So usually Nassau. Sometimes Jamaica, but that's kind of what led us into a lot of the content we do on Cruise Addicts. Is we've actually reached out to different resorts. We're doing like these resort day passes. We did one in Jamaica. We've got it on a video on YouTube. We've done Atlantis, and that was really good. So yeah, basically we're finding new and exciting ways to enjoy the ports that maybe getting a little bit, we've been a little overexposed to. So yeah, that's kind of what we do. But I like that. But on top of that, if I just want to stay on board, I just find it really relaxing. Like I said, it's quiet. You don't have to. If there's an area on the ship that might be really congested or a special feature, or maybe that day you can go, be it a zip line or something else, as long as it's open. Like you said, a lot of times the ships do shut down when they're in port. Certain areas might shut down, but for the most part, if it's a very if a ship that has a lot of amenities, I think they try to be open those days as well to serve people that want to take advantage of it that might not have bought a package or going offshore on their own. So, all right. So I know you and Heidi plan. So do you guys have any big money saving tips when it comes to cruising? Is there something that you guys do that you could share with our audience?
Yeah, I think the 2 things that we do are, one, we book early. And I think a lot of the cruise lines policies now are, back in the good old days, you could just put a deposit down, and then if you need to cancel for whatever, you get your money back. Some of the cruise lines now have non-refundable deposits, and that secures a lower rate, but then you might lose the $100 or $200 per person you put down. But in our experience, we've never really secured, in maybe where we live, like a good last minute deal. But anytime we book a ship, we usually book 8 months to a year in advance. And that's mainly because we do the newer ships and also the larger ships. So we've never, I think I can remember one time where I had to call a cruise line to get like a price adjustment. And I know that it's a little debatable if they do it, but there was no issue. I got, whatever the difference was, it wasn't much. Say it was $100. I mean, it's still $100 is $100. But so number one, book early and just make sure you read the fine print of the rate you get. I know Carnival has a bunch of different rates. Royal does too, Norwegian. But in our experience, booking earlier, I get you better rates. And then look through your cruise planner. I know right now some cruise lines are running ridiculously low deals on drink packages, dining packages, even some shore excursions or experiences. So we kind of, that A-type personality, we might look at our cruise planner a couple times a week when it's, even though, we have cruises that hopefully still will sail later this fall. And we're looking regularly, let's leave it at that, to see what's on sale. And we've been able to score 25, 30, 40% off different experiences or different packages doing that way. And I guess I like third quick thing is I would definitely look at websites like Cruise Addicts. You can check ours out too to find shore excursions. We rarely book shore excursions with the cruise lines unless it's a timing issue. Like sometimes you have a very unique time in port, like a set 5-hour time or something based on the itinerary, or you're going somewhere really unique and it's tough to find. But you can usually get more, I think, a better value and even just a better experience in general if you find some private tour providers, and more of them have their own websites now that you can go and book online or email them.
Yeah, one of my favorite websites is shoretrips.com. We've done things with them. We actually did a group cruise one time, and we rented yachts like for the group. So we had like 2 yachts in Acapulco, I think it was. We went and watched the cliff divers, and it was amazing. But it had like lunch was included. Like beer and wine was included. It was amazing. And it was probably for the same price per person that it would be for a normal excursion. And you're like, okay, I think I've seen the light, that you can do really, like you said, you can do really, really good for these, by booking it local rather than going through the cruise line sometimes. But of course, the cruise lines do a really good job too, because they've kind of caught on the past, as cruising's grown, and they've realized we need to be competitive and we also need to be unique. So they have a lot of unique offerings as well.
We do. Don't get me wrong. We definitely still book short excursions. So that Freedom of the Seas cruise, I want to say we did one with Royal and definitely 2 private ones that I can remember. One with Royal, maybe 3 private ones. But no, we definitely look through any cruise line that we're sailing with, see what their offerings are, and then see what other offerings are. And we do a mix now. Okay,
so we're getting close to the end of our interview as far as this is the lightning round. Okay, It's going to be kind of like a this or that. All right. So you have to take a choice. So buffet or main dining room?
Oh, MDR all the time.
Okay, drink package or pay as you go?
Drink. We do the drink package, even though neither one of us are big drinkers.
Okay, specialty restaurants or just the included ones?
I know it's later. I included ones. We do specialty restaurants, but we'd be perfectly fine doing the MDR every night.
Okay. Inside cabin or balcony?
A balcony.
Okay. Private table for 2 or a large table to meet people?
Oh, definitely private table for 2.
Okay. All right. Comedy show or the production show?
I'm gonna go. We see some really great, I guess, production show, and with the asterisk that a lot of times we go on the newer ships, so they have like their own signature shows.
Yeah. All right, one-man band, we'll go to that piano bar.
What was the first one, piano bar or what?
A one-man band.
Oh, piano bar.
Okay. Watch the sunrise or just sleep in?
See, I would sleep in, but Heidi's up with the sun, so it's both. She's gonna like dragging me out of bed, be like, we have tickets, we have to get up, so it's both. Yes.
Okay. Now describe what cruising. This is a bonus question. Describe what cruising means to you in one word.
One word. Seems to me one word. I guess I would say exciting.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll just close this out because we will record this. He is Don from EatSleepCruise.com. Don, thank you so much for doing our 10 questions here, our interview. It's a real privilege to have you on board. I'm gonna keep you if you don't mind, and we'll see. Maybe we can take some questions. We'll see what's going on here with Scott. I know he's there. Let's see if we can get Scott in here. Is it okay if I put you in the green room, Don?
The green room? Yeah, actually, I hate to do it too. I mean, thank you so much for having us on the show and stuff, but it would be all right if I need to bounce.
Okay,
But if folks have, again, John, thanks so much for having us. Love Cruise Addicts. Happy to support anytime. And we'll make sure to share this because this is being live streamed, but then also going to be put up, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna also we'll record your interview too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'll make sure to share it all over social. And yeah, if folks have questions, they can hit me up, Don at EatSleepCruise.com.
Okay, thank you so much, Don. I really appreciate your time and have a wonderful Saturday.
Thanks, you too. Be safe and healthy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, I hope I got a good signal now. I apologize.
No problem. You're looking at high definition here. And I wanted to say thank you. Thank you again to Don from EatSleepCruise.com. Please go to EatSleepCruise.com. He's on Facebook, YouTube, all the social media channels. He's very active on Twitter. We really appreciate his time today. We've got Scott Lara back in here. Scott, you're looking at high definition. I know you've got somewhere to go soon too. So I'm going to try to jump back in our questions. Maybe I think we left off here. I'm going to try to get back in here. Okay. So I said we did question number 1. So what was it actually? I don't know if I asked this. What was it that actually made you fall in love with cruising? I mean, I know you love the being at the sea, but what about cruising actually made you fall in love with it?
Unpacking only once, because that is so, even when, and I've fallen in love with all inclusives. Everyone knows that. But with cruising, you're waking up in a different port every day. So you unpack once, and then, my favorite cruise was my 14-day Southern. I actually did it twice. Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, Martinique, St. Bart's, St. Kitts. And so unpacking only once and waking up in a different port, you just can't beat that.
Okay, good. Now, are you near your destination where we can kind of go a little longer?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, just checking. All right. Do you have a favorite port? I know this is going to be hard for you, but do you have a favorite port or call, and what makes you love it so much?
I really love St. Thomas because of Magens Bay. And it's so funny. I know this is probably with you too, being a celebrity. My wife and I will be at Magens Bay, and somebody will always come up to me, hey, you're Scott Lara. I've watched your videos, and it's kind of fun. But St. Thomas, going up that mountain up to the banana daiquiri thing and seeing those birds and the view from up there, I just love St. Thomas. I really do.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because all the times I've been to St. Thomas, I never went to Paradise Point. And we did this last one. I just didn't want to do too much there, but I wanted to get off the ship. Right. And it's really affordable. We bought the tickets. You can pretty much buy them anytime you want.
Right.
And boom, we walked across the shops, went up to the top of Paradise Point, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, it is. And Magens Bay, you got to go to Magens Bay. Now, they did suffer some damage from a recent hurricane, but they are building back up.
Okay. And while we're talking, I just want to thank everybody in the chat. I think once me and Scott are done, we're going to go to some questions. Let's take a quick look at the chat here real quick. I don't want to neglect all these chats. It's so nice to see all these chatters here. It looks like a lot of people are chatting amongst themselves too. Really, really nice. Thank you so much. Rally, thanks so much for being here. Happy Cruising's here. MGM Family Travel, thank you so much. It looks like a lot of the people that are part of the this, like I said, this is part of the Quarantine Cruise-A-Thon, and thank you so much for all the support. I don't feel like doing a full hour was a little bit challenging, but we're already 40 minutes into it almost, so it's going well. So this has been a lot of fun. We'll get back to the questions here, and we'll put this all together. Scott, let me make sure I got to find you. I lost you a second. All right. We're live here today. So when you run into someone, I know this is going to be a great question for you. When you run into someone that says, insert excuse that I'm not going cruising, they've got all these excuses. What do you tell them nowadays? I mean, I know you also sell travel. You sold travel. How do you handle these objections? Because they're John, about it too. They're like, no, I ain't doing it ever,
Well, John, that's a very interesting question because pre-COVID, now you have to keep in mind this too. Only 10% of Americans have ever cruised. Okay, and so the thing is that pre-COVID, people would say I'd feel trapped. I can't get off. I feel, and they have all these excuses, right? Well, the fact of the matter is now after COVID, those, conceptions have now been redoubled, right? Oh, they were stuck on the ship. I can't get off. I'm trapped. So the thing is that now after COVID, if someone were to come up to me and say, hey, Scott, I don't want to go, what I would say is, listen, the cruise lines and the government are going to be redoubling their efforts to make sure the ship is safe and healthy and we're good to go. And listen, John, I'll tell you, if Carnival or MSC or NCL says, hey, Scott, you want to go, I'd be on the ship right now because, it's going to be fun. I'm sure they're going to be doing things to make it, healthier. So I say, hey, go once, try it. If you don't like it, like Carnival, they have this guarantee. I hope they still have it where if you're not having fun in 24 hours with an export, they'll send you home. So it's fun, it's affordable, it's family friendly. That's what I tell people.
Yeah, on that note, I know a lot of people are worried about this COVID-19. I mean, you can't see it, you don't know it, it lasts forever. I mean, some things are factual, but people really don't know what they're dealing with, and obviously it's affected everything in travel. Travel. Do you feel really safe about that? Would you really just take your family on board?
In a heartbeat, John, because the thing is, I know Carnival and the other cruise lines are working hard with the CDC, with the government, to come up with policies and procedures. So does that mean, like, at the airport, if they come up with a thing for your head, are they going to do that? Are they going to be taking blood tests there at the port? I don't know, but I would feel safe. Now, I will tell you, to be quite blunt, I mean, you got Oasis, you got Freedom, 4, 5, 6,000 people. Those are a lot of people. And if you know me, which you do, John, and a lot of people know me, I love Holland America Line. Smaller ships, more intimate, 5-star food, 5-star service. I would be on a Holland America ship like, Maasdam, Veendam, because there are fewer people. But again, when you look at Oasis or Horizon or these bigger ships, I totally understand people's trepidation about being around 5,000 to 6,000 people. And then you got to consider the crew, which is another 1,000. But I feel confident the cruise lines are going to do everything they can to make it safe. I really do.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get a solution soon that'll, and it looks like, luckily the whole world is working on this and we can get a solution and get back to back to our normal lives.
Right.
I think we're all getting fatigued from it. So what are some of the simple pleasures you enjoy when you're taking a cruise?
John, I love to relax. Okay. I just heard your previous guest saying, about being adventuresome and all that. And, that's what I ask my clients, what do you want to do? You just want to be in a lounge chair, or do you want to be up there on the hairy chest contest or the, flipping the bottle, making drink contest? Because I work so hard in my day job, I go just to chill out. So I'll be laying on a deck chair and sitting on the Serenity deck. I just love to be able to relax and shut down. The hardest part, John, though, is with you and me and others in the media, is not staying connected. And so it takes a lot of effort for me to put my phone down and just chill out.
Yeah, I find myself trying to. My wife laughs at me because I'm taking pictures of everything, and I'm doing too much. So yeah, but I'm just like you. I don't need a lot of the games and stuff like that. I've been blessed enough to see that enough times, and I enjoy it. It makes it does makes it does create some ambiance, But as far as I don't need to be at every little thing. But it's hard to put that phone down because you're doing social media and you want to share it. And it for me, especially just like you're doing your regular Monday through Friday stuff, and all of a sudden you have this exposure to all this wonderful stuff, especially some new experiences, and you're just taking everything,
Exactly.
And of course, my social media also feeds me, by getting extra likes and everything. And you're like, oh, okay, just makes you spend more time. But I'm also one of those people where I don't want to be that guy or that girl that literally, is this,
right,
spending their whole vacation, behind a camera. I don't want to live my life through a camera. And I've also learned to appreciate. I'm gonna get this back up here. I've also learned to appreciate any type of excursion where I'm not pressed up to a minivan looking out a window. I don't want to be in a bus or a van or a taxi cab for any length of time. After I did my European river cruises, where we literally walk out and be right there in the town, and everything was walking and eating and smelling and tasting and stuff like that. I was like, okay, I've really become a more of an adventurer or explorer rather than just some cruise passenger stuck in a van, looking, doing an island tour. Now I want to get out of those vehicles, and I want to walk around. I want to talk to the people, and actually, and it's makes me really want to touch things and be part of things.
You're right.
So yeah, that's my 5 cents on that. So I'm going to ask you this question too. So do you have a story that you can share with our listeners here and viewers? Exactly, like, of course, it's got to be PG. Any type of travel story that you've shared with your clients or your friends and family, some kind of story that, like really stands out. I know I'll give you a minute to think about it because I know it's hard to be put on the spot and say, okay, tell me a story, but do you have any good story or?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, it's St. Kitts. And the funny thing about St. Kitts is, you get off the ship and there's like 5 or 6 guys with monkeys on their shoulders, right? And so the guy goes, hey, I'll take a picture. Well, he goes like this, snaps the finger, and the monkey jumps on your shoulder, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so the guy goes, hey, give me your phone. I'll take a picture of you with my monkey for $20. I said, $20? I said, what's the name of your monkey? And the guy snaps his finger. The monkey jumps back on the guy's shoulder, and the guy walks away. It's like, what's the name of your monkey? And so that's kind of a funny story. And my other story is about Half Moon Cay. And if you type in Scott Lara, Lara, Half Moon Cay, shameless plug, you will see my videos on YouTube, right? And so, like I said, I got over 700,000 views on my YouTube channel. And one of my videos is walking up those steps at Captain Morgan's bar, the big pirate ship on Half Moon Cay, to the 2nd and the 3rd levels, because you have a great view. So I'm walking up there with a friend of mine, John, and there's a wife taking a picture of her husband, and they both look at me, and the guy goes, you're Scott Lara. It's like, hey, how are you? And, oh my gosh, can we get a picture with you? And so then the husband said, Scott, I would not have known about these stairs in this upper area to get these great pictures if it was not for you and your YouTube channel. And so that is the real high for me. And one of my mentors is Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, and Google him. But Gary, talks about those highs when, people, recognize you, or they say good job, or they love you, or you're a fan, or whatever. And that kind of balances out all the down arrows that you see on your YouTube channel. But yeah, when you go to Half Moon Cay, go up those stairs and you'll see. Yep.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about Doug Parker and Cruise Radio.
Yeah.
And, I think we've all probably read the Gary V's book called Crush It.
Yep.
Phenomenal book, and I think it really goes for anything. That's a plug for Gary V. Like he needs one. But yeah, it's an amazing book. If you ever want to get involved with anything you do in your life, he really talks about just basically crushing it, just outworking, just following your passion, whatever it is.
Quick story, John. It's funny because I've been listening to Gary Vaynerchuk for many, many years, back when he was doing Wine Library in 2009. And years ago, he tweeted out, ask me anything. And I tweeted him and I said, I would like a signed book, an autographed book of Crush It. And he sent it to me. And so, yeah, huge fan of Gary V, and even a bigger fan of Doug Parker, Cruise Radio. Doug is a true pioneer in all this and deserves a lot of credit.
Oh yeah, and Cruise Addicts syndicated his show for 4 years, and yeah, we've obviously got a great friendship, and he's taken his show to remarkable heights, and he's done it just that book outlines, and of course following his own passions, he's really crushed it. And
he's the hardest working guy out there, John, I'll tell you. Yeah. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely exactly. It wasn't given to him. Yeah. So do you have a port that? Oh, let's see. I might be missing my question here.
Sure.
I'll jump. Yeah. So do you have a port which you like to stay on the ship?
Freeport's a dump. It is. I tell all my clients, man, don't even get off the ship. Now, Doug will say, oh, there's this, you pay some money, you take a bus, and you go to this beach, and you get a towel. Okay, I have not done that, but, maybe next time I go to Freeport, I will. But anybody that has not been to Freeport, when you pull in, it is that's where they do all these refurbishments of the ships and these dry docks, Hey, there's an interesting story about Freeport, though. I forget which hurricane it was, excuse me. But there was a Carnival ship that was there, and I think there was a shrimp boat that was in trouble. And the captain of the Carnival ship, went out and rescued these shrimpers. But I'll put a link to that on the cruisegenius.com, and John, maybe you can do it too. But that's a very interesting story about Freeport, that they saved a fisherman or a shrimper. But yeah, I stay on the ship at Freeport, like 99% of frequent cruisers do.
So, the good thing is, I think, like I said, these ports are actually working really hard and I've actually done that excursion with a beach excursion. There's a video on YouTube, there's a YouTube video there, where it's a beach day, a beach excursion day, and and there's also some resorts there, which I think Royal Caribbean is doing a bunch of investment. So basically, what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of investment in Freeport to convert people like Scott here that don't like it. Because
fine, send me, show me, give me a pass, and let me report on it. I'll go.
So okay, gotta get back to my questions here. We did that. Okay, you're in your car right now. I don't know, or at home. Imagine you've got the Grubhub order app where you can order appetizer, entree, dessert, everything, your favorite dishes from your favorite cruise lines. You can have multiple cruise lines, just like you can order from multiple restaurants. What would you order?
The President's Cut on Holland America Line steak for in the Pinnacle Grill. And I know Orlando is not with Holland America anymore, but he had a special cut of steak, and it was huge. And so my favorite restaurant is Pinnacle Grill on Holland America Line. And you got to have the French onion soup on Holland America Line. And of course, the bread pudding on Holland America Line is just off the chart. Shrimp cocktails. That French onion soup, like I said, is amazing. But like I said, I got 150 days on Holland America Line, so that's really where all my experiences, are right there. And yeah, I got 75 days on Carnival. And yeah, the flat iron steak on Carnival's good. The chocolate, thing, a hot chocolate thing, the bitter and blanc soup thing. But yeah, I mean, that's why I go, John, is the food is really good on cruises.
Oh yeah. Now, what is your favorite Holland America ship? Do you have one?
I'd say the Mazdam. I mean, it is an older ship, but it's smaller. It's intimate. I know the crew. I mean, I knew the crew when I sailed there with because I've been on Mazdam like 5 or 6 times. So yeah, Mazdam's probably my favorite ship.
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna go back to here. One moment. All right, we're getting farther in our thing. It's 53 after. Do you have now, as a travel agent, do you have any big money saving tips for our cruise addicts here?
Number one tip is book early. John, I cannot tell you how many times people will call me. If I wait till 1 week before the cruise, I'm going to save $1,000, right? Well, you'll save maybe $25 or $50. But the fact of the matter is, if you wait to the last minute, if you're a cheapskate, right, and you want to save $25, when it's a week before the ship sails, you're going to be by the bow. You'll be by the bow thruster. You'll be in a very bad location. So don't come crying to me as a travel agent or travel advisor. You got to pick. And I always advise people to book a year out in advance. It may be a little more expensive, but you'll get the cabin you want. And, but again, John, I hate saying this, but I mean, people are just so price driven. If they go to Costco, that's the funny thing. They go to Costco and they buy a cruise, and then they get on these Facebook pages asking for super secret tips. And the only reason I can give super secret tips is because I've been on these cruises, right? If you type in Scott Lara Half Moon Cay on YouTube, you'll see my tips about getting off the ship early, not waiting until 11 or 12 o'clock. And so you don't get that from the guy at Costco. And with all due respect, you don't get that from the guy at Vacations to Go, because they've probably not even, and even the PVPs at Carnival, who a lot of them have been laid off, God bless them, you're not going to get those tips. So you can't have it both ways. Consumers can't say, I want a great price and great tips, and then go to Costco.
Yeah. Do you like guaranteed cabins? Do you recommend those for people trying to save a little bit?
Guarantees, again, it's a roll of the dice, right? Now, like with me, I'm a platinum on Carnival. I'm 3-star on Holland America. So I think some super secret guy looks at those factors and then, okay, if you're in a guarantee, they may put you in a better cabin. But one of my super secret tips is this. when the cruise line calls you or emails you offering you an upgrade, a paid upgrade, keep in mind that the upgrade in their eyes is different than the upgrade in your eyes. They can put you underneath the walking track or some other undesirable location. So to answer your question, guarantees are okay if you don't care where you're going to be. But if you care about location, then you better get an assigned cabin.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, because I'm pretty easy going, but some people aren't. You know, like, and you see people will literally stress about anything. You know, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm too close. I can hear the elevator ding. You know, there's a stairwell nearby. I hear, you know, they roll. I hear a cart rolling because they're below the buffet, or you know, or something like that, or the jogging track." And you know, I think most cruise lines have actually done a lot of this to damper that stuff through the years on the newer ships. But yeah, if it's going to drive you crazy, then you just, you know, definitely pick your cabin, because there are differences.
Well, John, there's one cruise director. He's not a cruise director anymore. His name is Jason Venner. He was on Holland America Line. And you know that first night when you go on the ship and you're sitting in the show lounge and the cruise director comes out and does a little show and all this stuff. But Jason said this, and this is on Holland America Line. It never surprises me that people travel hundreds, if not thousands of miles just to complain in a different place.
It's sad. It is sad, but it's true.
But you got Ethel, Myrtle, Gertrude, Elmer. They're going to complain. You know, John, I know we're getting out of time here. My wife and I were in the dining room on the Holland America ship, and Elmer and Mildred were sitting over in the corner. And, you know, Elmer was saying the coffee was hotter, you know, back during the days of Titanic. And it's like, you know, all he was doing is spending his kid's inheritance. And I actually talked to him and said, guys, come on, you know, you're ruining my vacation here. But, you know, the thing is that you're on a 5-star ship with 5-star service. There's nothing to complain about. And, John, people tend to complain louder than they give praise, right? Yeah. I mean, you go to a store, you go to a restaurant, and you didn't have good service, you're going to tell 1,000 people. But if you had great service and a great experience, you may not tell people. But you and me and others in the media, we are going to let them know. And so.
All right, we're wrapping up. This hour has gone by so fast. Yeah. And thanks again, Scott, for being here. But I've got a couple more questions. We're going to do this real quick. We got the
lightning round.
So this or that, buffet or main dining room?
Main dining room.
Okay, drink package or pay as you go?
Pay as you go.
Specialty restaurants or use the included ones?
Specialty restaurants.
Inside or balcony?
Captain's suite on the Carnival Sunshine.
Definitely. Have you seen that? That is amazing.
I've been in it. Yeah.
That's like, yeah, I need that. I haven't been on it yet. Private table for two or sit with Gertrude?
Table for two.
Okay. One-man band or the piano bar?
One-man band.
Comedy show or production show?
Production show.
Watch the sunrise or sleep in?
Sunrise.
And bonus question, describe cruising, what it means to you in one word.
Affordable.
Affordable. And he is Scott Lara, thecruisegenius.com. He's the man. Thanks so much for going through all this with us. Thanks for making this cruise-a-thon wonderful. We're down to 2 minutes, Scott. We did it.
Well, John, thank you very much. And everybody watching, be sure to follow John, Cruise Addicts. Just an incredible man, and I've met him in person. And thank you so much, John. You're truly a leader in this industry, and I deeply appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Scott. Have a happy haircut. We'll see you later. Bye, brother. All right, we're back. We're down to our 2 minutes. I don't want to walk over. We're down to 1 minute. I don't want to walk over our other Cruise-a-thon guests. Thank you all for taking the time to join me on this 1 hour Cruise-a-thon. This has been great. I want to thank all the people in our chat room here. We've got virtual dinner party saying sunrise. The Griswold's family vacation. He's saying Sean and Casey, they say sunrise too. Let's see. I saw that. What else we got here? J&N Travels is here. We've had actually 31 people in the room today, 27 likes. We really appreciate you here. I think we're down to our 1 minute. So thank you so much for all being here, making this cruise-a-thon. Thank you to Rally for putting this together and having us part of this wonderful experience. And I think it went really, really well. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the follow. We'd love to have you part of the Cruise Addicts subscription, subscriber base. Thank you again. Virtual dinner party, the Tyler Show, cruising through life with Al and Jeannie, how are y'all doing? Happy Cruising is here. Griswold Family Vacation is here. Oh, wow. So many people. Thank you all for being part of and joining the Cruise Addicts family here. We really appreciate it. Travel Taste Tour is here. Jenner's Platters Cruising Channel. Awesome. I got to check all these out. Please go to all these different creators here as well. Like and subscribe them. It fuels us. It motivates us to really be part of it. Cheri-Awesome Sunsets Travel. Cheri, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for saying great stream. I really appreciate it. This has been fun. We hope to do more. And I think that's it. I better go. I think I'm over time. Bye-bye. Have a happy Saturday.